Yeah, I think this is recording. Hopefully so. So, welcome to another edition of, The Drunken Diaries with me, your humble host. Whatever my name is. Doesn't really matter. So, about balls deep in beer number 2. Saturday night. What's the date? Let me check my phone. Well, it's damn near 8 o'clock. Saturday, December 14th. So, well, I posed a question to my brother because apparently he likes us a lot. I don't know why. About the subjects that I should get drunk and talk about, since I am a drunkard and I like talking when I get drunk, especially making these weird drunken diaries. Anyway, this idiot couldn't come up with an idea. So I proposed to him that I there's a cigarette butt, not a cigarette. Oh, that pack's not open yet. Hold on. I got an open pack somewhere. There we are. There we go. Well, I proposed to him that I riff on the original Star Wars trilogy. Which I don't think many people would do. Actually, most of the online critics that I like probably never touch the subject, but I'm going to. Because I'm drunk, and I'll just put it out there, just from the get-go, that I do love the original Star Wars trilogy. I think it's the best of any of the Star Wars stuff. I think it's better than Star Trek. I'm not a Star Trek fan, per se. I'm a fanboy. But there's a lot of inconsistency and a lot of problems with the original Star Wars movies. And we're going to get into that. So, first off, I guess we'll start with Star Wars Episode 3, A New Hope. Not a bad flick, but take it out of context, it's actually damn near a comedy. It's really funny. There's a lot of jokes in there. And, so many problems. So many fucking problems. And, alright. Well, I'm gonna have to just do a basis of all three and then just get into things that bother me. So anyway. The original, yeah, good. Good story, kind of funny. Then it goes into The Empire Strikes Back, Episode 4. Very serious, very much a downer. And then Episode 6. What can I say? Oh, I can say Ewoks. Alright. So let's get into the basis of the story. So it starts out, the Rebel Alliance is trying to haul some ass from a Star Destroyer. It gets captured. And, obviously, and, Princess Leia is with the Rebel Alliance. God knows why. That's never actually explained, I don't think, ever. So they capture the ship. They get her monkey ass. She puts in a distress signal to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Problem number one with that is, how did that fucking droid know where to go? Because when they catch her, she's putting in the message. And she's finished with it. Which means she didn't have time to put in any coordinates of where this little fucker's supposed to go. So how did it know? Did she put the coordinates in beforehand? And why would you do that? No one would. The reason being is, when you record a message, when you call somebody, or anything, and especially when you get voicemail or something, the first thing you do is state your name and purpose before you give your phone number or address. So, if she was sending it somewhere, it would have been the last thing she did, but she got caught doing it. So, that really didn't make any sense. And here's another problem I have with it. Okay, just because she did send this droid with a message, let's just assume that she sent it with the message to the right planet. Odds are on that, I guess, insurmountable, but she did. How in the fuck what were the odds that the droid would not only be captured by the Jawas, but the Jawas would sell it to Luke Skywalker, who, by the way, knew who Obi-Wan Kenobi was? What are the odds of that? And yeah, before you naysayers say, well, he was on his way when he got captured. Yes, he was. He was traveling. So, but how did he know where Obi-Wan Kenobi lived? And for the fact, whatever, how did she know his exact location? He's a hermit that lives on a desert planet in the middle of fucking nowhere. How did she know his exact location? She couldn't have known that. Fuck! Luke Skywalker knew who Obi-Wan Kenobi was, and didn't know his exact location. At least in my opinion he didn't. Because he gets knocked out, if you watch the movie, he gets knocked out by fucking the sand people, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi takes him to his place. I don't think he knew where he lived. He just knew that he was in the area, that he was an old man that was around. So yeah, that bothered, it still bothers me. Alright, and on top of that, where was I? What's next? Alright. The Empire. The most feared and probably most powerful agency in the galaxy builds something as big as a Death Star. And no one questions that. Which, why would they? You know, it's just a giant space station with the size of a moon. Look how big the fucking moon is. It's huge. And so, I get that. I totally get that. That's totally fine. Giant space station. Sure, why not? But they built for the purpose of destroying planets. There's no reason they need to put a fucking laser on this thing. It's huge. You just get it near a planet, it would fuck its orbit up in its gravitational pull and all. It'd fuck up a planet just being near it. There's no reason this thing needs a giant gun on it. Yet they built a giant gun. And no one saw how stupid that was. It's like, you don't need a giant gun. This thing is huge. And here's another problem with that. When they're trying to position it and move it into range to blow up whatever, I don't even remember because I'm not watching the movies right now. They're not in front of me. So I don't want to hear a bunch of emails or whatever about what planet they were fixing to destroy, but they had to stop them. The Rebel Alliance had to stop them from positioning around another planet. There's a bunch of problems with that. Number one, if this thing can blow up planets, why is it going around a planet? Why didn't it just blow up that planet so it have, line of sight on the planet that it wanted to destroy? This thing can blow up fucking planets. That doesn't make any sense. Didn't anyone say that to the Emperor? It was like, why are we revolving around this planet to blow up another planet? Just blow that planet up, and then you have the line of sight on the planet you want to hit. No sense whatsoever. And another thing, why is the Death Star so slow? I'm not really good with I'm not really good at physics, and especially outer space and stuff like that. But the odds are, it doesn't matter how big it is, why didn't they put a warp drive in this thing? It doesn't matter how big it is, it's in outer space, it's a vacuum. You could have put a warp drive in it and got anywhere you wanted to in any amount of time you wanted to. It doesn't matter that it's huge. Why is it moving so slow? The engineers that built this thing had to have been idiots. I mean, literal fucking morons. I don't even see a propulsion device on it. If you go back and look at the movies, how does this thing move? But it does. I don't see any propulsion in it whatsoever. Every other ship in the series, you can see, like, boosters and friggin' shit lights up and it moves But the Death Star does move, but you never see any propulsion device on it. But if they did build a propulsion device for the Death Star, why didn't they put a warp drive in it so it could get anywhere what it needed to as fast as it could? They didn't. Think about that one. It's fucking retarded. Alright, what else? Oh, Hoth. I got a big problem with Hoth, too. Alright, so the Rebels built a base on the ice planet Hoth, which I thought was a good transition from the desert planet of Tatooine, where Luke Skywalker was from, and to Hoth, which I think is in Empire, pretty sure. So they go there. My big problem with that is they send a scout, alright? It's in the movie. You know, the scout lands and it finds out, oh, well, there's the Rebel base. So what does the Empire do? It has huge Star Destroyers. And these Star Destroyers, by the way, have to be able to go into the atmosphere. I think it's... I don't want to bring up the special edition. Actually, it might not even be in the special edition. It might be just in Return, where there's a fucking Star Destroyer landing on a planet. So why didn't they just send a Star Destroyer to destroy the Rebel base? What they did was, they dropped down an AT-AT, an AT-AT, which is otherwise known as a dog walker. I think it's an AT-AT, I could be wrong, but the dog walker, they set it down. My question is, fucking why? That is the most pointless machine I've ever seen in my life. Same thing with the chicken walker, the AT-ST, I think is called. Well, as cool as the designs are, they're pretty much useless. They're all-terrain vehicles. They're like for recreation. Why would you send that to destroy anything? You have shit that flies. Why not just send tons upon tons of just spaceships just to destroy the Rebel base? No, they send dog walkers. And they don't even drop the... I assume they had to have landed them there. They didn't build them there and then send them. That would be ridiculous. So they had to have dropped them there. And they dropped them miles upon miles away from the Rebel base. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And my biggest problem is how they stop the dog walkers. Luke Skywalker uses a tow cable to wrap its legs up and trip it. Now, I'm no genius, but I would think the very reason technology evolves, and especially in wartime, is to avoid the most simplest of traps, such as a tripwire. But no. Why did they build these dog walkers in the first place? What advantage could that possibly have? If anything, it's a hindrance to anything feasible that would apply in a war situation. It has to walk. When they can obviously build these awesome space shuttles, these awesome spaceships, just mounted with lasers and shit, but they decided to make something that walks with 4 legs that can be tripped by a tow cable. And there's another problem right there. Why the fuck does the Snowspeeder have a tow cable? What the fuck is it gonna tow? It's not a land machine. Have you ever seen anything that flies pull something on a cable? That is the most ridiculous thing I can think of. Why does it have a tow cable? What the fuck is it gonna tow? A person? That doesn't make any sense. Another snow speeder? Why? Why is it there? To pull itself out of something? Like if it gets stuck, why would it get stuck? It's supposed to fly. Therefore it doesn't need a fucking tow cable. Who the fuck decided to put a tow cable on something that flies? And so, yeah, that is dumb. Very, very dumb. Oh, I could go on and on. What else have I got a big problem with? Well, since we're talking about that, if you think about it, everything the Empire built, supposedly the most evil, ingenious, biggest, scariest force in the galaxy, is literally beaten by the simplest of methods. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry with the basic knowledge of how to fly, period, can destroy them. Luke Skywalker with the tow cable, Luke Skywalker in the X-Wing, Lando Calrissian, and the Mexican stereotype. I mean, it really didn't take them a whole lot of effort to do what they did. Especially in the original, when Luke Skywalker blows up the Death Star. They just, like, what really bothered me was he didn't need any help. Not really. All those other people that died while doing it, Wedge and Blue Leader, Red Leader, whoever they were, they got blown away for no reason. Because they could have just sent Luke just by himself. He could have done it. It'd have been fine. And of course, the only time he ever had trouble was when Vader came after his ass, and he was saved by Han Solo. Not really saved. I think he would have fared just well without Han Solo's help. But still, he blew it up by himself. Pretty much. And, you know, that just proves, like, the Empire is just a bunch of idiots that could have been destroyed at any time by anyone. Because in Return of the Jedi, it's, yeah, they do basically the same thing. They fly into the core, the unfinished Death Star, and blow it up. You know, just one ship, both times, both Death Stars, it took one ship to do this. Does no one see the problem with that? And now, like I said in the beginning, I love these movies, but they don't make any fucking sense. They really don't. Ridiculously so, they're stupid. I mean, they're fucking retarded. And a lot of people want to make fun of the prequels, and, well, yeah, that's easy. You know what else is easy? Making fun of the originals. As much as I love them, dear God, they're dumb. What else? I don't even want to get into the fucking Ewoks. I'm not even going to do that. You know. That's just George Lucas trying to make money, I guess. Something for the kids. You know. For kids. So yeah. Fucking Ewoks. That happened. But yeah, a lot of it didn't make any sense. And what also doesn't make sense is actually, if you really get into it, lightsabers don't make sense. Because in the original trilogy, they were barely used. At all. Period. Hell, Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi felt so little about it that you barely saw it. He could force choke your ass. And in one scene when he's fighting Luke, he literally throws it. That's how much he cares about a fucking lightsaber. He throws it at him. He's not even worried about if he gets it back or not. What does he care? They're basically useless. And so when they did the prequels, they were like the ultimate weapon, which I thought was ridiculous because in the original series, it was more of a symbol of power than it was an actual weapon. They barely used them. The only time that shit came in handy was when Luke was beating the fuck out of Darth Vader. Go back and watch that. That was a good scene. Luke just wails on him. It's fucking hilarious. I mean, he does. He just beats the shit out of him with it. He's not... There was, like, minor choreography in some of the scenes, but in that scene, no, that's just pure fucking rage. Just beating the fuck out of him. But other than that, they're not, you know, blasters do more than that. And really, when you think about it, if the lightsabers were that powerful of a weapon, don't you think the Emperor would have trained the stormtroopers to use lightsabers instead of blasters? He could have done it. They're fucking clones. He could have trained them to use lightsabers. He could have made millions of them, and every fucking stormtrooper could have had a fucking lightsaber. They didn't. You wanna know why? Because they're just a symbol of power. And training. It's not about, they're not better than anything. It really depends on the person using them. But, like I said, the Emperor could have trained a select few to use them. Hell, his Imperial Guards, at least, could have had lightsabers, but they didn't. Why? I don't know. It's just bizarre to me. And another thing is no one, in the original series, we don't know for a fact the stormtroopers are clones. The only reference I think that is ever made to them being clones is when Luke Skywalker busts in to save Princess Leia and she goes, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?" But there's a funny side to that too. If you go back, there's a scene, actually not pretty earlier, not too earlier than that. Don't you love Drunken Diaries? Where the stormtroopers search the Millennium Falcon, and two of them are walking out. There's a scene where two of them are walking down the ramp, and one of them smacks his head on the freaking walking down the ramp. He just whangs his head, and it's in the movie. They didn't cut it out. They didn't even like reshoot it for some reason. But that goes to show you that some are bigger than others. And also, if they're clones, that's totally fine, but they're still not going to be all the same size. Here's a big problem I have with that. In the movies, period, is it's based on outer space. But you never see them in a weightless environment. Everywhere they go has gravity. Every spaceship never loses gravity. That seems a little inconsistent, or just not feasible to me. At some point, they have to be in a zero-G environment, but they never are. No matter where they go, no matter what ship they're on, no matter what planet they're on, the gravity is always the same. That can't be correct. I mean, it just can't. Why is it like that in there? That's like the only true science fiction movie you'll see where there's no gravity. I mean, where there's no gravity. No gravity. There's always gravity in the original Star Wars. And actually in the prequels too. They are never in a zero-G environment. How is that possible? That, even when ships get damaged and stuff, you would think at some point they'd lose the gravity controls and just be floating around. But it never happens. And like I said, every planet they go to seems to have the same amount of gravity. Which is fucking impossible when you think about it. There's just no way. That can't happen. Different planets have a different amount of gravity, but they never mention it, never show it, never anything. And, alright, what else? I'm getting off track. Or maybe I'm right on track. What else is really bad about it? Oh! How come there's no mention of the connection between the Hutts and the Empire, when obviously they know each other very well? Because why would the Empire hire a well-known bounty hunter such as Boba Fett without knowing who the fuck Jabba the Hutt is? Obviously, they know who Jabba the Hutt is, but they never talk about that. Because they never talk about hiring Boba Fett in the first place. Boba Fett just shows up at Cloud City. He's just fucking there. Why? How did he get there? Who called him? Why is he there? The Empire had to have hired him at some point to track down Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. They had to have. And how did they find him? They had to have gone through Jabba the Hutt. the biggest gangster known in the galaxy. So therefore, there's a connection between the Empire and Jabba the Hutt. But they never mention that, which would be cool if they did. You know, can you imagine fucking, Darth Vader on the phone with Jabba the Hutt? Hey, you know, I got a problem. Who's the best bounty hunter you got? And he's like, you know, fucking Boba Fett. Alright, give me his number, hook me up, send him over. Wouldn't that be awesome? But anyway, they do hire him, and he does help. Another problem. Big problem. The carbonite idea. They froze Han Solo in carbonite to test it so they could use it on Luke Skywalker. I'm pretty sure that's what the idea was behind that. But that's still pretty stupid. Actually, it's very stupid. If they were going... Why would they freeze him? The whole idea was to turn him to the dark side. The Emperor wanted him on the dark side. His father wanted him to join the dark side. What would be the point of freezing him in carbonite? I mean, other than it's a miracle of modern science that you can freeze somebody and keep them alive forever, I guess? What would it... There's no point in it. To use it as, like in a mean way. You know, that's an amazing concept. We can literally freeze people and keep them perfectly preserved forever. And yet they use it as a torture device? That doesn't make any sense. And they were gonna do it to Luke Skywalker? The one that they wanted to turn to the dark side. It's kinda hard to turn someone dark when they're frozen. It's just me. I think so. So yeah, that's retarded. Oh man, there's just so much. What else? What else can I go into? I'm going to Jabba. He was an idiot too. Oh my god. You know what? Bathroom break. I'll be back later.